Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and I hope all of you are doing absolutely fantastic, treating one another excellently. In today's video, of course, we're getting into a batch of Xbox news because it's been some time. We're talking about some Japanese growth for Xbox, finally, and we're seeing a plethora of new JRPGs head to the console, which could signify even more growth and potentially more JRPGs coming to Xbox. Oh my God, can I say it again? Finally! And then we're going to talk about Phil Spencer's comments on tribalism in the video games industry, console wars, and how it's affecting overall the medium, which I'm going to talk to those Xbox and PlayStation YouTubers here in this video. You're going to get scolded by Mr. Daddy Play, so prepare yourselves. And last but absolutely not least, we got to talk about a real-world event that is impacting a video game that I know a lot of people are really excited about. So we're going to get into all of that in today's video. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. We're going to talk about a lot of Xbox news here. Let's start off with the most important one, which involves Stalker 2, which is being developed by GSC Game World. Now, obviously, I typically, if you follow my channel, you know that I stay out of real-world events almost always because I respect the desire of the audience to have a place to escape the real-world events. And just in this case here, come and talk about video games, just relax, detach from everything for a little bit, because I think for us to properly process information, you need some time away from it. And as someone who has anxiety, and that anxiety, my first bout with it was started off by world events that were out of my control and I didn't know what to do about it. For me, constantly confronting that made it really difficult to cope. So I understand the desire, again, for people to not want to talk about these types of things here in the gaming space. But also, I think it's important that there is awareness there and we do our parts in separate ways. So I will have linked down below a site that I use to donate to help what's going on around the world. And if you do feel the generosity in your heart and you do want to support that, again, it'll be linked in the description down below. But we're talking about Stalker 2 now, which was already delayed from April to December 8th at the end of the year. And they've recently posted what I would consider a sobering video for many on the reality of this conflict happening in Ukraine, where they call it lights, camera, war. I'm not going to show the video here because it could contain what I would consider disturbing video clips and imagery that many people probably don't want to see right now if they're trying to just be aware of what's happening but not actually see the visuals of it, because it's really sad what's happening. In this video, they have a particular quote I wanted to point out here, which is, "The previous week, we were editing the video about our motion capture studio. We wanted to show how cutscenes were created. We took time to watch videos, write scripts, and speak with actors. The previous week was ages ago. On the 24th of February, Russia declared war on Ukraine and sent rockets, tanks, and soldiers to our homeland. Our country is forced to fight for its existence again. Seems like this is the price of freedom. This video is our answer to the 'how are you guys' question. Now we are striving to help our employees and their families to survive. The game development shifted to the sidelines, but we will definitely continue after the victory. Glory to Ukraine." Now, of course, this means the game's definitely not going to hit the December release date for whatever that matters right now with everything that's happening, but it's just deeply saddening. As someone who I grew up, one of my best friends is Ukrainian, and I play on a Ukrainian hockey team. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I always had the patch on my shoulder, and people thought I was Ukrainian. I am not, but I am close with that community, and this especially hits home. So again, I just wanted to spread a little awareness. I wanted to make sure I did my part because my heart was just telling me do something about it. But yeah, Stalker 2 has been delayed indefinitely, I would say, for the time being. And of course, the game comes last, right? I think, again, this whole theme of the news update is really about humanity, where this hobby means so much to us that I think a lot of people lose focus of what's truly important sometimes. And we'll talk about that more in the end of the video when we get into what Phil Spencer had to say about tribalism and console war. So I'll just leave it there. But right now, Stalker 2 off the table. I would not expect it in the holiday window. Again, not really that matters in the scheme of things, but for those who are looking for the update on that. And again, link down below is some sites you can donate to if you feel like helping out. With that, let's move on to what's happening over in Japan. So Xbox has historically struggled in Japan, and it sucks, man, because as a JRPG lover, that's my genre. I love JRPGs. And Xbox, they don't support those, okay? So, it's quite annoying to see that there are certain games that are only coming to Persona. Yeah, would love to see it on Xbox. And now we're starting to see a little bit of growth for the brand overall in Japan. So this started off with a headline that was totaling up the numbers for the amount of Xboxes bought in Japan, which is a total of 2.3 million in the last 20 years. This is revealed in a brand new report. Now, it specifies what the sales were for each console, which was the original Xbox hitting 472,992, the Xbox 360 being the most of them all at 1.6 million, then the Xbox One with 114,000, not surprising at all, and then the Xbox Series X and S already outperforming that last generation with 142,024, no doubt, thanks to Game Pass. The article also highlights the best-selling Xbox games in Japan in the last 20 years, and I think this is important, and you'll know why in a moment, because Dead or Alive 3 is the first one on the original Xbox at 271,000. Think of the attachment rate between the original Xbox, which didn't sell 500,000 units but close to it, versus the game Dead or Alive 3. Then Star Ocean 4 comes in at number 2 for 208,000. Tales of Vesperia arrives at 204,000. Blue Dragon, 203,000, and the Last Remnant at 154,000. Those last four, all Xbox 360. And I just gotta say, I'm disappointed in you, Japan. Where is Lost Odyssey on this list? What's going on? What you may see here, ladies and gentlemen, there is a bit of a commonality. When Xbox gets some nice exclusives in Japan, their sales go up for both the software and the hardware. Whoa! Who would have thought? So it's no duh that the Xbox 360 generation, which by the way, 360 was just dominant outright, but it's no surprise that the 360 generation, where they sold 1.6 million units in Japan, guess what? Had a ton of exclusives that are mentioned here, like Tales of Vesperia, Blue Dragon, Last Remnant. Of course, there were other ones that aren't listed here, like Infinite Undiscovery. I also mentioned, again, one of my favorite Xbox 360 JRPGs, Lost Odyssey. Xbox was in on Japan during the 360 era, and they received their payback from them when they dipped out during the Xbox One gen, and they didn't do anything for them, games that spoke to that audience. You see the numbers. Not only did the Xbox One suck, but it didn't provide the software for certain regions outside the United States. That's bad. Now, here's why the Series console units are picking up in Japan, beyond Game Pass just being this indomitable force that you just look at and go, well, I need to sign up for that. I need to have a good deal like that in my life. Beyond something like that, it's about situations like this, where you can look at the Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative coming to Xbox. You can look at the recently revealed Soul Hackers 2, a Atlas video game. Pause. Atlas video game coming to Xbox. Not Switch, though, which is weird. Atlas always has someone losing out, right? Like, we got Shin Megami Tensei 5 on only the Switch, but it's not on PlayStation. It's not on PC yet. It's not on Xbox. But then we get Soul Hackers 2, this sequel from a game in, I think, 97. And that's not on Nintendo Switch. Like, don't you need as many units sold as you can imagine? So, I don't know. Atlas is just a weird company. If you followed Atlas for a while, like me and many other, say, Persona and SMT fans, you'll know we say Atlas does Atlas things. They just are so unpredictable and weird, and the obvious choice is never the choice they're going to make. So anyway, we're seeing little pickups on the business front here, and that's not even to mention Xbox's own doing, where they are announcing the Xbox Wire Japan, which, for those who don't know, Xbox Wire is where they make all their announcements for Xbox as a brand. It's where they announce day one Game Pass games. It's where they announce that they're buying Activision. So it's an important part of their brand to spreading information. And they're growing so fast in Japan and have so many plans for Japan and are investing in this region that they have announced Xbox Wire Japan. Good. Good. They are building. Slowly but surely, they are building. Obviously, as I've said many a times, this will all not be enough until you start putting out the big money for big JRPG exclusives or day one Game Pass games. One of the two. Depends how they want to grow the brand there. I think exclusivity, if you look at the 360 generation, did work out pretty well for them. But since gaming is a business that's only getting more expensive, a lot of these developers are looking at Xbox and going, why would we make a game for you when it's not going to sell? We need your game to sell. So Xbox probably wants to take the Game Pass route here and continue to build that up with great day one games. I look at something like Soul Hackers 2, that's a brand new entry, and again, a series that's almost 2 decades old now. I would look at that and say, if I'm Xbox, let's get that day one on Game Pass if we can. Of course, it takes 2 to tango. But the good news here is Xbox is investing in Japan. Right now, they're doing better in the Xbox One, which isn't saying much. But those numbers, to me, are still lacking. They're still lacking. They need to get your numbers up. Come on now. Like 2.3 million in 20 years. You can't help but look at that. I look at that if I was someone working at Xbox and be like, okay, who do we got to get on the phone with to make that not an embarrassing number? Because let's work on it now. Japan is so important to the growth of video games. There's so many talented studios there. It's why so many people want Xbox to invest in that ecosystem. Myself certainly included there. So it's good to see there is growth. It's good to see that they are supporting and being there day one for more niche JRPGs. Like I mentioned, Nirvana Initiative. Like I mentioned, Soul Hackers 2. We're starting to see Xbox be there, get involved. Tales of Arise, they were there for that. They got Danganronpa on Game Pass. I'm waiting for the other games, but they got Danganronpa on Game Pass. However, I'm starting to see their too little too late days fade away, right? Where they do eventually get the JRPG like Danganronpa years later. Okay, I guess cool. But now we're starting to see them be there on launch day. That was step one. Step two, Game Pass deal. Step three, an exclusive here or there. You're golden. That's the Mr. Matty route to success in Japan. Thank me later, Xbox. With that, let's move on to our last bit of news. So this one comes from Phil Spencer, where in an article titled Xbox boss Phil Spencer asks fans not to weaponize games for battles between platforms, he really goes in on you console fanboys out there. When asked if he had a message for fans, Spencer was keen to voice his wish players respected creators rather than use games as ammunition in a console war. I think it's often that creations can be kind of weaponized and used in battles between platforms and other things. He then goes on to say, I look at everybody who is brave enough to create something, put it out, have their peers, the industry, players, play and analyze and talk about what they do. Let's just celebrate the fact that so many great games are coming out from so many creators and realize that's such a foundation for where this industry is going to go. He continues by saying, we have a responsibility to everyone in this business, we have a responsibility to society, and we have a responsibility to ourselves when it comes to workplace toxicity. Our responsibility is simple. Do everything possible to ensure that this industry is about treating every single person with dignity and respect. All right, so I don't want to come across in this whole video preachy. I'm certainly not the perfect person. I don't want to act like I am at all because I know I'm not. But I see a lot of creators on this platform, especially, and certainly Twitter, who try to weaponize, as Phil would say, any game release that comes out on either side of the fence and try to use it as a way to shoot someone down when we're trying to grow gaming overall. And as someone who does content creation, I understand branding and the power of it, and also the fear there is of stepping away from what you're known for. So there are a lot of creators out there on both sides that are very antagonistic with their titles, with their thumbnails, with the way they portray things. It's out there in mass. I understand why it works. It's spicy. You rile people up, get a couple more clicks, you build a fan base that's either super loyal to Xbox or PlayStation, whichever side you prefer, and you build an army, and it's good money. I get it, okay? I get what you're trying to go for here, but take it from someone who has rebranded their channel, if you will, not by name and logo, but rebranded the approach, the presentation, the thumbnail game, the title structure, and has been receptive to that feedback, and has only grown since then. That you can find another way to speak on video games without being an antagonistic asswipe. Like, I don't know how else to put it. And it's something that, again, with things that are happening in the world, we just have to recognize that video games are super important to me. I play them every day of my life. I'm working on my own because I love it so much. And I continue to strive to make this industry a better place, even just by conversations alone. It means the world to me. But even I can recognize, like, this is a hobby. Life comes first, right? Treating others properly comes first. So to me, I just get tired of this stuff. If you notice, like, I'll tee off on fanboys without hesitation. I know the dislike bar will go up and they'll think, oh God, we're really hurting his channel. Newsflash, like dislike bars do nothing. But regardless, when I saw Phil talking about it, it's not the first time he said it. And for those who don't know, Phil has said in the past that if anything was going to push him out of the industry, it was the tribalism. And we love Phil. We're Team Phil Spencer, right? You want to keep this man around? Start acting on your best behavior. I do think Phil Spencer's comments on workplace environments are kind of interesting because they just bought Activision Blizzard King, and the call that they made has now been revealed. It came one day after it was all revealed that Activision was scum, to put it simply. So to me, it's like, was he doing what he's saying in this speech and trying to make the industry a better place by absorbing Activision Blizzard King and saying in the newsletter like they're going to answer to me and trying to do a cleanup work there? That'll be interesting to see how all of it plays out, and only time will tell on that front. But a lot of talk on people in this video. So again, just a message from me to you. Let's continue to be good to one another. Let's try to make this world a better place. There's certainly enough hate out there. So my e-hugs to all of you. Y'all make my life incredible. I get to chase my dreams every day because of your support here and for you tuning in. So thank you so much for bearing with me in this video, because I know it's not a traditional style of news update for me. And again, I don't want to come across preachy talking about all of this stuff, because I don't want to act like I'm perfect. But I just thought it was important. And again, it was really weighing on my heart. So with that, we'll be back to business as per usual in the coming videos this week, next week, and so on and so forth. But until then, take great care of yourselves. And again, if you want, link to donate is in the description down below. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.